Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be focusing our practice on lengthening and strengthening through the legs. So we will be using a couple of props today. If you do have two blocks available, it will come in handy when we're coming down into a low lunge half split position, just to have one on either hand. If that's something you don't normally use in your practice, one block will be fine today. We will also be making use of a strap, and if you don't have a yoga specific strap, don't worry. You can use an old necktie, a soft piece of rope, because you will be putting it around your foot, something that'll be long enough and sturdy enough for us to stretch out the legs. Essential oils today on this very misty, cloudy first day of spring, we have grapefruit, ylang-ylang, and bergamot. So it's nice and floral and uplifting in here, and I hope that the rest of the day will pay homage to the coming spring. So on that note, we'll go ahead and get started. So we are going to be starting in a reclined position today. So coming to lie back flat on your mat in Shavasana to start the class. I will join you down there in just a moment. And just allow yourself the first few moments here to come into the space, to allow the weight to just slip off of the body as you feel the spine begin relaxing into the mat, weight releasing from the shoulders, the limbs becoming heavy, and then the eyes softening or closing. And we should be able to start to feel that natural rhythm of breath. And notice how it feels today, warm or cool to the back of the throat. And then we're going to start building upon the breath, finding our pattern of deep breathing. So gradually start to bring expansion into the belly. Feel the chest rise, and then exhale nice and slow. We're going to continue building on this breath. Perhaps we find a count here, inhaling to a count of 5 or 6, exhaling to the same. We're going to take 5 more of these deep breaths before finding that natural rhythm again. And I invite yourself really to take your time with it here. This is the internal work that we do at the beginning of the practice that'll help fuel us throughout the movement. So really allowing yourself to connect with the breath. Notice how it feels within the body. Notice what it's doing within the body. Hopefully it's starting to relax everything. Tension can be released. Maybe calming down some of those coffee jitters. One more inhale. This time we're going to exhale nice and long through the mouth. And let that exhale guide you right back to your natural rhythm of breath. Take a moment to observe how that feels within the body. You may notice some subtle differences between the breath now as compared to when we first lie down on the mat. Starting to wake up the body here, incorporating slow movement, pointing, flexing the feet, rolling the ankles around, rolling the wrists around, beginning to wake up the limbs, drawing the energy up toward the spine. Inhale, reach and extend the arms up overhead. Feel your whole body lengthen out. Point the toes to the bottom of the mat. Exhale to soften. I'm going to join you on my back now. Another inhale here. Reach and extend the arms up. Exhale, knees floating into the chest, arms wrapping around the legs. Give yourself a squeeze. Rock gently from side to side. Just starting to wake up through the spine, through the back. Then come back to center here. We're going to take the hands to the tops of the knees. And keeping the legs together, we're going to start to circle around. You're going to feel a really nice massage on the sacrum area, the tailbone, low back. So a few times in one direction, and then reversing. Bringing the knees back into center. We're going to continue to circle them, but we're going to open the legs wide apart. Bring the knees together, back into the chest, and then opening wide and around. So just starting to bring some movement into the hip joint. Starting in one direction. And then we'll reverse it, still circling wide apart. And then bring the knees back into center. We'll let the arms fall open to the side. Take a big inhale. Exhale, knees dropping to the left gently for our twist. And remember, if your legs do not comfortably reach the floor or comfortably stack on each other, we can wedge one of our blocks between the knees or underneath for a little more support, because we want those shoulders to stay grounded down. And then to just release here, let the legs go, unclench. Breathe into the spine. Using an inhale, we'll draw the knees through center. Slow movements. Exhale, knees going to the right. Moving the block if you need it, so the shoulders can ground down and you can release control of the legs. Return to that deep breath. And inhale once more through center. Keep the knees bent, plant the feet. We'll set up for bridge. Fingertips reaching down to barely brush the back of the heels. Feet hip distance. And then walk the shoulders down, lengthening the back of the neck. Exhale, low back flattens to the floor. Inhale, press into the feet to lift the hips toward the ceiling, rolling and peeling the spine off the mat. Coming up onto the shoulders, gaze stays straight up to the ceiling. Maybe allowing the back of the head to gently scoot toward the top of the mat, creating space between the chin and the chest. And then checking back in with the legs here, squeezing them slightly into the center so that the knees are not buckling out to the sides. Belly is relaxed, breathing. heel toe your right foot toward the center line of the mat and shift your weight into that right foot. Using the hands and arms pressing down. On an inhale, we're going to lift that left foot toward the ceiling. Making sure we're not popping that left hip up, but trying to keep it square in line with the right. We can flex that left foot. And then take a moment to even out the weight between that supporting right leg and the arms. Begin to point and flex the left foot. And circle the ankle around. Wiggle out the toes. Nice and strong here. Bring the foot to stillness, flexing it. And then we're going to bend that left knee, starting to draw the knee toward the top of the mat. Really press and ground into the right foot here. Inhale, extend the left. Exhale, left foot returning to the mat. Even out the weight, back into bridge. Take a breath. Slowly heel toe that left foot to the center line of the mat. Weight shifts into the left side. Inhale, right foot lifts, flexing the foot. Even out your weight. Make sure the hips are even. And then bringing movement into the foot, pointing, flexing. Rolling the ankle. Finding stillness, flex the foot. And then grounding into that left side, we're going to bend that right knee and start to draw the knee toward the top of the mat. Strong legs. Inhale, right foot extends. Exhale, down to the mat. Even out your weight. Inhale. Use the entire exhale to release the spine back down, nice and slow. Once your tailbone is down, soften everything. Take a breath. And then go ahead and find your strap. Hopefully it's within reach. We're going to be stretching out the legs here. And we're going to start with the right leg. So drawing the right foot into the chest, strap will go around the ball of the right foot. And we're going to start to extend it up toward the ceiling. I'm not going to completely straighten my leg just yet. But before I really focus on this right side, I want to make sure this left leg stays active. And we do that by flexing the left foot and pressing that left leg down and out as we bring length up and back through the right leg. So again, I still have a soft bend to my right knee because I'm going to play around with the flex of the right foot. Start to feel the stretch and length come into the calf, through the ankle. Shoulders relaxed, upper body relaxed, face relaxed. Again, taking our time here. Allowing the muscles of the leg to warm up, lengthen out. And after I've breathed a few nice breaths into the lower part of my leg area, then I can begin to start to straighten out through the knee. And without lifting my hip off of the mat, I want to send the energy up and out through the heel of my foot here. Left leg is still actively pressing down and out. And then maybe every few exhales, as I create space in the back of this right leg, I can start to deepen the stretch. Upper body still relaxed, breathing. Taking the strap in the right hand close to the toes, I'm going to ground my left hip with my left hand and slowly open my right leg out to the side. We do not want this left hip popping off the mat. We're bringing the stretch to the inner thigh now. Your leg does not have to reach the floor. And then notice as we bring the leg over to the side, if you're really clenching into that right hip, it might take a couple breaths, but try to release and soften, and you might find that a little bit more space is available to you to move a little deeper into the stretch. For those of you that have very flexible legs and find that your leg is fairly close to the floor, You can deepen the stretch here by trying to bring your foot closer toward the top of the mat. This might mean you may lose a little bit of drop to the side, but that's okay. You'll feel the stretch start to expand into other areas of the leg. Next inhale, we'll bring that right foot back through center, and we'll take the strap in the left hand, keeping the right shoulder grounded this time. We're going to slowly bring that right leg over to the left side. I like to use my left elbow as a little kickstand here. And again, your leg does not have to reach the floor. You're going to feel the outside of this right leg, the whole IT band turning on, up into the hip. Breathing again. Nice deep breaths here. We're just starting to create some space and open up some room. And again, if you have flexible legs and you find your foot is close to the floor, maybe trying to lift toward the top of the mat. You're going to feel that stretch deepen almost immediately. Inhale, moving back through center slowly. Lengthen out through that right leg again. Shoulders relax. We'll take one more big breath in and out. Next inhale, remove the strap from the foot. And exhale, float it down to the mat, nice and slow. Once it reaches, soften everything. Take a breath and just observe the difference between your left and right leg right now. You may feel a little bit longer in that right side, and we're going to even that out in just a moment. Left foot floating in, strap around the ball of the left foot, and as we start to extend the foot toward the ceiling, remember right leg stays actively pressing down, foot flexed and out. As we start to bring length up and back through the left side. Soft bend to the knee, play around with the flex of the foot. Create the space in the calf and the ankle first. Relax the shoulders and the face. And then we can begin to straighten through the knee a little bit more. Soft bend is always a good idea, but we can start to lengthen up and back, bringing the stretch into the hamstring. And just breathing. Taking the strap in the left hand close to the toes, right hip stays grounded down as we slowly open out to the side. And if you're like me, you're going to feel a little bit of difference between this left side than the right. I'm usually a little bit tighter in this left side. So it takes me a few extra breaths to start finding a little bit more release down. And again, notice if you're clenching into the hip, use a couple of breaths to soften, release. We're still sending the energy out through the heels. Inhale, moving back through center. Strap comes into the right hand. Left shoulder stays grounded as we move the leg to the opposite side. Feeling the outer leg turn on. Sorry, I'm a little limited for space, so I have to adjust for the wall here. Inhale once more, bringing the leg back through center. As it comes up, hips are grounded down. We'll bring length back into the back of the leg. Shoulders relax, breathing in. and out. Inhale, remove the strap. And exhale, floating all the way down to the mat. Softening, taking a breath. You can place your strap off to the side for now. And we're just going to roll to one side, doesn't matter which. And use a nice big inhale, press up to a seated position. One leg crossed in front of the other if that's okay, or you can sit up on the knees if that's more comfortable. We're going to take the left hand to the mat beside us. On an inhale, right reaches up. Exhale, over to the side for our side bend. Bending into that left elbow, but press away from the mat. Active fingertips to the side of the room. Length through that whole side body and up through the rib cage. Maybe we look up to that right elbow. Inhale, reaching up with both hands. Exhale, right hand lowers down and reaching over with the left. Maybe looking up to the elbow. Relax the hips and knees. Inhale, reaching up, look up to the hands. Exhale, hands come into the heart. And we're going to set up for a nice easy twist today. So one leg crossed in front of the other if that's okay, or again, if you're up on the knees, that's fine as well. We'll take the hands to the legs. Inhale, lengthen up through the spine, shoulders relaxed. Exhale, we're going to twist to the right, starting at the waist. And then using each consecutive breath to work our way up the spine. Every inhale, we grow tall, we create the space. Exhale, twisting. Head and neck turning last. Using a couple of breaths to get there. One more breath in. Exhale to center, nice and slow. If it feels okay with the legs, reversing the cross of the feet. Inhale, growing tall. Exhale, starting at the waist, twisting to the left. Breathing in and twisting. Exhale, moving deeper. One more breath in and exhale to center. We're going to come into a wide-legged seated position here. So we're going to have the legs fairly wide, but not so wide that you're already feeling strain just sitting here, just to feel a gentle stretch in the inner thigh. We did just stretch out with the strap, so we shouldn't be feeling too tight. And then your block or one of your blocks is going to come right in front. Before we start to fold down or work too much here, we're just going to create a little bit more space. So bringing the hands down in front, spine is nice and tall. We're going to be leading with the chest here. I don't want you dropping the chin down. Hands to the mat, and we're just going to walk ourselves back and forth. Again, my back is nice and flat, and I'm just using the hands to bring the torso down closer to the floor, trying to keep the flexed feet, those toes, pointing straight up to the ceiling. So the movement is really coming from the waist here. The legs are trying to stay put, not rolling forward. And as you do this a few times, you'll start to feel that a little bit of space has started to create, starting to open up. So we're going to find one spot to hold. Maybe that's hands in front with a soft bend to the elbows. Again, nice flat back, long spine. Maybe we take forearms to the block. Some of you, if it's within your practice, may be able to bring the forearms to the floor. As we breathe here, I want you to stay active in the legs by pressing them down into the mat, feet flexed. And you're going to really feel those inner hamstring muscles start to turn on. Breathing deeply. Hands to the floor. Your next inhale, we're going to walk back up through center. You can place the block off to the side. And we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, keeping the knees wide. Wrapping the hands around the feet. Just go ahead and butterfly the knees out a couple times. That's going to release any tension that might have been lingering in those inner thigh muscles. And then finding stillness here. If the feet are together, peel the big toes apart, just as though you're trying to open a book. And you're going to feel that maybe the legs can start relaxing, the knees can come a little bit closer to the mat. Again, inhale for a nice tall spine. And as we exhale, leading with the heart, we're going to start folding forward. Thinking about the tailbone grounding down into the mat, lengthening up all the way through the crown of the head. You don't have to come down too far, because a lot of people, when they start to come down, compromise the spine by hanging the head. And we don't want to do that. We want to stay lifted and long. Keep relaxing into the hips. A couple more breaths here. Next inhale, move back through center. And exhale. We're going to make our way into a tabletop position. So if you do have 2 blocks for your practice today, one on either side of the mat, just so that they're available for when we start moving here. As we move into table, hands and knees, we're going to do our few quick circles up and around the wrists. So spread the fingers, and we're just going to circle up and around. Few times in both directions. And then we're going to come to the top of the right hand, reversing that stretch, gently circling around here. And then shaking out the right hand before we move to the top of the left. Same thing on this side, just gently moving around, reversing all that stretching. And that left hand gets a nice good shake. I just got to move my mat over. Excuse me a moment. The subtleties of working in the attic space, right? Back in table, we're going to move through 3 rounds of cat-cow. Inhale, expanding the belly, pulling the heart through, looking up. Exhale, round the spine, press the shoulder blades up. 2 more times. Last round. And exhale. Inhale, moving back through table. Walking the hands a step or 2 in front, we're going to tuck the toes. Take a breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog, hips up and back. Knees bent to start as the belly presses toward the thighs. Head releases between the arms, and then go ahead, pedal out the feet, lifting and lowering the heels. You can bring the feet to stillness. Heels can be lifted off the mat here, but just begin to soften and relax them down. Go ahead, shake out the head. Shake it out, no. Shake it out, yes. Then looking back at the feet. Shift your weight to that left foot toward the center line of the mat. And on an inhale, we're going to lift the right foot up behind. Exhale, bend the knee, and slowly shift your weight forward to bring that right foot between the hands. You might have to guide it forward. And then we're going to bring the low knee down, or the left knee down for the low lunge. I'm going to scoop my right toes forward just a little bit here. And then bringing my torso to the inside of that right leg, I'm going to lean forward until I begin to feel the top of this left thigh turn on. Nice good stretch in the top of this left thigh. So just gently leaning forward. Taking a few breaths here. One more big inhale. And as we exhale, I'm going to start leaning back a little bit. This is where you might want to have a block in each hand as we come back to the half split. I'm going to stack my left hip over my knee, extending and straightening my right leg, toes pointing to the ceiling. I can have the blocks here in my hands underneath the shoulders, or bringing the hands down to the mat. We're going to stay lifted just for a moment. So notice if that right hip is sort of forward of the left, pull that left hip forward and the right hip back. And we're just going to take a soft bend to the elbows here. So still a nice flat back, leading with the heart, not dropping the head, just bending into the elbows. As you start to dip down, you're going to feel the back of the right leg turn on. Take a few breaths. Activate that right quad a little bit. Inhale, straightening the arms. We're going to bring the block in the left hand to the inside of this right leg, or the left hand to the inside of the right leg to set up for a twist. Shift your weight into that left hand. On an inhale, right hand will come to the right hip, looking to the side. Right leg is still active, quad is still strong, foot is still flexed. If you feel your right shoulder beginning to pull back and stack over the left, maybe lifting that right hand into the air. Belly slightly engaged. Breathing in. And exhale, right hand can come down. You can place your blocks off to the side because on an inhale, we're going to slowly and gently move back into the low lunge. So shifting the weight forward, flattening that right foot. Take a moment here to find some balance. We're going to come up to a crescent low lunge here. So strong legs on an inhale, arms reaching forward and up to frame the ears. Exhale, shoulders relax. Feel the tailbone lengthen down, the hip bones press forward. Breathe in, puff the chest toward the ceiling. And exhale, peel the arms back for a little back bend or chest lift here. Strong legs, feel the glutes engaged to help keep you supported and balanced. Next inhale, reach straight up. And exhale, hands down to frame the right foot. Left toes tucking under. Inhale, lift the knee. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take 3 big breaths here. I'm going to switch sides of the mat so I can still see you. Shifting weight into that right foot toward the center line of the mat. On an inhale, left leg rises up behind. Exhale, bend the knees, gently shifting the weight forward to place or guide the left foot between the hands. Right knee grounds down for the low lunge. Inching those left toes forward just a little bit and bringing the torso to the inner left leg as we lean forward. Starting to turn on and create some space in the top of this right leg here. Breathing in. Exhale, slowly shifting the weight back to the half split. If you'd like the blocks, one in each hand as we come back, to be placed under the shoulders. Right hip over the knee. Left leg straightens, toes pointing up. Remember, we're not collapsing downward. We're staying lifted for a moment so we can square those hips. Right hip forward, left hip back. Breathing in. Exhale, take a gentle bend to the elbows, leading with the heart, not dropping the head to bring the torso closer to the legs. Few breaths here into the left hamstring. Quad is engaged and strong. Inhale, lifting up. Right hand with the block or on the mat to the inside of the left leg, setting up for our twist. On an inhale, left hand comes to the left hip as we look to the side. If you feel that left shoulder pulling back, beginning to stack over the right, maybe lifting that left hand up. Still strong and active through that left leg. Breathe in. Exhale, left hand down. You can place the blocks off to the side. Your next inhale, gently and slowly shifting the weight back to the low lunge. And taking a moment also, just making sure that now the left knee is not going past the ankle. We want it stacking over the top or ankle a little bit forward of the knee here. Strong legs as we inhale, reaching the arms forward and up to frame the ears. Exhale, shoulders relax, hip bones press forward slightly to lengthen the tail. Next breath in, heart puffing up. Exhale, arms peel back, little back bend here. Inhale, reaching straight up. And exhale all the way down, framing that left foot. We'll tuck the right toes. Inhale, lift the knee. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 more breaths. Inhale, look to the hands, and exhale, walking to the top of the mat, folding down over the feet. You can bend into the knees here, really release and hang the head down. Grab opposite elbows, sway a little bit from side to side. And then finding stillness, release the arms. Inhale, we'll lift halfway. Flat back, exhale to fold. Upper body hangs. We're going to roll up to stand, breathing in the whole way up as we round through the spine. Arms coming out to the side, reaching up, look up. Exhale, hands into the heart. And release the hands down. I'm going to switch sides here. And again, just making sure you have the blocks or block available to you at the top of the mat for as we start to move through some standing postures. Mountain pose at the top of the mat. Evenly ground down through the feet. Spread the toes, shoulders down and back, spine is long. Connect with your breath here. Inhale, arms reaching forward and up to frame the ears. Exhale, as the hands come into the heart, shift your weight to the right leg, taking a soft bend to both knees. Ground down into that right foot. Press into the big toe and slowly begin to lift the left foot off the mat. Maybe the knee comes up into the chest. We're going to be taking a big step back to a high lunge. Option to go through a warrior 3. So on an inhale, we're going to extend that left foot back, and we can keep the hands to the heart here, nice and slow. Maybe we pause just for a moment in this extension, and then gently ground those left toes down. Heel stays lifted. Bring the torso up. Tailbone is long. Inhale, reaching the arms up overhead. Press that back heel toward the back of the mat, and then just make sure that the right knee is not going past the ankle. We're going to take a little twist here. So taking a breath in, As we exhale, we're going to open up the arms to the side, twisting to the right. If having the arms open is too intense, we can bring one hand, the right hand, to the hip, twist, and then open the left arm forward. Strong legs here. Allow the glutes to turn on to help you with some support and do some work for you. Breathe in. Exhale, hands coming back through center. Inhale, reach them up. And exhale, start to straighten that right leg. And you might want to hop the left foot in just a step or two because we're going to bring that left heel down, setting up for pyramid. You can bring the hands down to the hips here just for a moment. We want to make sure that the left toes are slightly turning in toward the top of the mat, but not all the way. And we're going to square off the hips. Right hip pulls back, left hip forward. To come down here, we have our blocks available at the top of the mat if we'd like to use them. If it's within your practice to keep the hands to the heart or behind the back, you can do that as well. I'm going to take mine to the heart. Soft bend to that front knee is okay, but if the leg is straight, quad is engaged, quad strong on both legs. Breathing in. Exhale, we're going to start extending the spine forward, tailbone reaching back, crown of the head coming toward the top of the mat. Once the torso is about parallel to the floor, we can bring the hands down, maybe to the blocks underneath the shoulders. If it's within your practice, maybe all the way down to the mat to frame the leg. I haven't folded down completely yet. I'm still long through the spine. Take another breath in, strong through the legs, and exhale. Allow yourself to soften down. Hang the head and shoulders. Keep squaring off the hips. They'll probably start to unadjust, so just little tiny micro adjustments. So lifting the head to look toward the right toes. If you'd like to add a little bit of a challenge, maybe we walk the hands toward the top of the mat. You can still use the blocks for this as well. So finding some extension through the arms, shoulders, and side body here. Your next breath in, we're going to frame the right foot with the hands and bend back into the knee with the exhale. So finding a runner's lunge. Breathing in. Exhale, left foot seals more parallel to the short side of the mat. We're going to set up for warrior two. Tuck the right hip underneath, either swinging up from here or hands to the thigh, lifting the torso and opening up. Warrior two. Shoulders relaxed, spine long, hips tucking under. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Exhale, hands to the hips. We're going to turn our toes out to the long corners of the mat, heels coming into the center. I'm still wide between the legs here. We're going to come into a few goddess squats. You can have hands to the hips, or inhale, reach the arms up. Feel the feet press and firm down. We want to keep our hips tucking underneath here. Breathing in. Exhale, bend into the knees, bend into the elbows. Take a moment and make sure your weight is shifting back. We don't want the knees coming forward or past the ankles. So maybe we don't take as deep of a bend because we want to keep those knees safe. Allow the pelvic girdle, those low glute muscles, to help support you here. Feel that lift coming up through and into the spine. And with the elbows bent here, we can open up the arms a little bit, engaging the shoulders. Or again, we can keep hands to the hips. Press into the feet. Inhale, reach and extend up. And exhale, hands to the hips. Turn those left toes forward. Turn those right toes forward. We're going to come back to that high lunge here. So bending into the right knee. Inhale, arms lifting up high on those left toes. Exhale, hands all the way down to frame the right foot. Runner's lunge. Breathe in. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 big breaths. And I'm going to switch sides of the mat here. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, walking to the top of the mat, folding over the feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Rolling up to stand, big breath in as we round up. Arms reaching up and over, look up. Exhale, hands to the heart. 3 breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more. Hands release, mountain. Even out your weight. Moving into the left side now. Inhale, arms reaching forward and up to frame the ears. Exhale, hands to the heart, weight shifts to that left foot, soft bend to both knees. As we slowly start to lift the right foot off the mat, maybe the knee starts to tuck into the chest. Thinking about how we want to step back here, either right to that high lunge or through a warrior 3. Inhale, reaching that right foot back. Maybe pausing briefly in the extension and then softly grounding those right toes, heel is lifted. Make sure the knee is not going past the ankle as we inhale, arms reach up. Tailbone is long. Take a moment to connect with your breath. And then send that energy out through that back heel so we find a little bit of extension between these legs. And then setting up for our twist. Take a breath in. Exhale, we're twisting from the waist, opening the arms to the left. And again, we can bring left hand to the hip with the right arm extended if this is a little too much. Breathing in. Exhale, bring the arms forward, untwisting. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, we're going to hop the back foot in and straighten the left leg. Bring the hands to the hips so we can square off those hips. Remember, we want right toes slightly turning forward, but not all the way toward the top of the mat, just enough so we can pull the right hip forward, left hip back. And if the legs are too close together, heel toe that front foot out toward the side just a little bit. You can keep the hands to the hips here. Maybe we bring the blocks under the shoulders. So I'm going to start with hands to the heart. Breathing in. Exhale, I'm going to start leaning forward. I'm really grounding into my back foot. Tailbone reaching back. Crown of the head forward. My legs are straight, so the quads are very strong, but you can have a soft bend to that front knee. Once I'm about parallel to the floor, hands can come down maybe to the blocks or the mat itself. I'm not folding forward just yet. I'm squaring my hips off one more time. Breathing in, and then exhale, softening down. Hang the head and shoulders. Still sending energy into that back foot. Quads are still strong, and I'm breathing. Small adjustments to the hips. Inhale, straightening the arms, looking forward. I'm going to slowly shift my weight forward, bending into that front knee and finding the runner's lunge. Right heel can lift. Breathe in. Exhale, right foot seals parallel to that short side of the mat. Left hip tucks under, setting up for warrior 2. Inhale, reaching up and opening to the side. Take a breath. Inhale, left leg straightens. Exhale, hands to the hips. Opening the toes to the long corners of the mat, heels toward the center. Hips tucking under, preparing for those squats. Hands to the hips, or inhale, reach them up, press down into the feet. And exhale, squatting down, bend into the knees, bend into the elbows. Weight is shifting into the heels. Again, check in with those knees. Make sure they're not going past the ankles or dipping forward. That might mean we need to let off our bend a little bit. Smile. engage the pelvic girdle, send that energy, that lift all the way up through the spine. Maybe open the arms up. And then inhale to stand. Exhale, hands to the hips. Right toes turn forward, left toes turn forward, setting us back up for that high lunge. Bend into the left knee. Inhale, arms reach up high on the right toes. Exhale all the way down, framing the left foot with the hands. Breathe in. Exhale. Left foot back to meet the right, high plank, and then ground the knees to table. Inhale through cow. Exhale to cat. 2 more times. Come back into table. Cross the feet behind you. Bring the bum down and the feet forward. Coming to sit in the center of the mat, we're going to begin winding down here. So our half boat position, you can place the blocks off to the side. Feet planted, knees bent. Nice tall spine, arms out to the side. Breathe in. Exhale, feel the belly dip way back. We're going to bring the tailbone down to the mat and start releasing down nice and slow. Breathing the whole way. Using control through the shoulders, the neck, and the head. And then relaxing the limbs. Feel the spine neutralize to the floor. Take a big breath into the belly. Let it out with a sigh. Float the knees into the chest. Wrap the arms around the legs. Give yourself a little squeeze. Rock from side to side. We can find a happy baby from here. Grabbing the outer edges of the ankles or the feet. Ankles stack over the knees. And the legs open wide around the rib cage. We can rock a little bit from side to side here as well. And then finding stillness. Bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide. Lower the legs to the mat. Take a few breaths here. Release control of the legs. Soften the low back and shoulders. Maybe we support the legs in the hands. Maybe we rest the hands on the inner thighs. Inhale, knees come together. You can let the arms fall open to the side. We're going to scoot our bum to the right and extend the left leg. Right foot placed on the top of the left knee. Take a breath in. Exhale for the twist. Right knee softens over to the left. It does not have to reach the floor because we want the right shoulder to stay grounded. Release and allow gravity to take over. Begin to deepen and slow down through the breath. Inhale, make your way to center. Scoot the bum to the left. Right leg extends. Left foot to the right knee. Breathe in. Exhale for the twist. Left knee coming over to the right. Left shoulder grounding down. Release yourself and breathe. Inhale to center. Even out the hips. Any little last minute adjustment, stretches, or movements you need before Shavasana, feel free to take those now. Maybe you have a blanket nearby you'd like to cover up with. Whenever you're ready, releasing back, shoulder blades tucking under, spine long, palms face the ceiling. I like to take up some space here. Legs are slightly wide, arms out to the side. Feel the spine relaxing down, and the eyes can begin to soften or close. Finding that natural rhythm of breath and just observing how it feels within the body. And then we're going to come back to that deep breath we began class with. So gradually building on that breath again. And with each of these long controlled exhales, I'd like you to release sensation from within the body. So with the first round, think about where you're feeling the most sensation. Maybe it's within the legs since we focus so much on the legs today. Exhale, release that energy. And then with each continuing breath, continue to do the same for the rest of your body. And after you've taken several rounds of breath in this manner, I invite you to slowly release control of the breath completely, allowing it to become almost imperceptible. Feeling the body surrender to the practice, and the mind and thoughts to surrender to stillness, to peace. Slowly start to deepen the breath again, inviting awareness to return to the body, wiggling out the toes and the fingers, rocking the head gently from side to side. On an inhale, reach and extend the arms up overhead, point the toes to the bottom of the mat, and exhale to release. One last time, we'll bring the knees into the chest. Give yourself a big squeeze and find those kind words just for yourself of gratitude for stepping to the mat today, of acceptance for your abilities, and whenever you're ready, rolling to one side. And with the eyes soft or closed, making your way up to a seated position. Taking the hands to the heart. And if you care to join me in ending our practice with a round of Om, we'll start by taking a big breath in. Exhale all the stale air. One more big inhale. I thank you so much for joining me in your practice this morning. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, feel free to contact me, and I look forward to our next practice. Namaste.